Welcome to Soccer Night in Detroit for September 7th, 2004. It's Dally Day here in Detroit with the Dally in the Alley going on. But it's going to be a fun day, and after the Dally, we could get ready to run the boys in Le Rouge because they have a big key game tonight against last place El Paso. The second worst record in the USL Championship with only 5 wins, next to Miami FC 3. And this 3 points kind of big, ladies and gentlemen, because after their draw last week, it's now getting tight. Literally tight. Detroit City FC 38, Rhode Island 37, Indy 36, Birmingham 35, Loudoun, who had a match last night against Louisville FC, lost. They're still stuck in 34. And by the way, Louisville FC, first team in the playoffs. So yes, they are going to need the 3 big points if they want to separate themselves from Rhode Island. And big games tonight. I don't need to mention that every team in the Eastern Conference playoff is live, except for Miami. Yep, the Red Line of Death claimed them last night. Oh my. So the contenders are eliminating the pretenders. And it's going to be a fantastic night. You can see that game on the CW Detroit 50 tonight, 9 o'clock on Channel 50. And now with all the recap, or let's say preview inside the numbers and everything, let's throw it over to the Madcap. It's all yours.
Angling for space, through now. Williams turns, fires, scores!
The chip, and it's in! Ben Morris gives Detroit City a bolt of lightning on the road.
Settle back from Morris, who just came on. Cedeno falls in front, there's the goal! He's only just come into the game!
Just lets it go, redirected. Oh, what a stop by Saldana!
Welcome again to another Soccer Night in Detroit. Mad Cat here with you on a Saturday where, Texas started messing around with Michigan. Detroit City's had a little bit to do with messing around with Texas, a.k.a. the Open Cup game against Houston Dynamo a couple months back. Yeah, we get to mess with Texas again. Tonight, we travel down to El Paso to take on the El Paso Locomotive. Let's kick things off going with the tail of the tape. Last 5 matches for both squads have been, even records. Detroit City, 2-2 or 1, or 2-2-1. El Paso, 2-2-1. El Paso came away with a home victory against eliminated Miami SC, as Steve alluded to a little bit earlier, and beating Orange County SC by a score of 1-0. Let's take a look at the where they stand in each of their respective divisions. As you know, Detroit City is in 4th place in the Eastern Conference, 1 point ahead of Rhode Island, and El Paso sitting on the bottom of the Western Conference with 20 points. They're still in playoff contention, however, unlike Miami, as Steve mentioned also earlier in the video as well. So insights of the match. Let's see. El Paso has scored 3 goals in their last 5 matches of play. So that includes the 1-0 victory over Orange County. They lost the Sacramento Republic 2-0 out in Heart Health Park over in Sacramento, and Last week they drew Monterey Bay by a score of 0-0. Armando Moreno has the most shots on target per match at 1.2, and Turney Mashobain has created the most big chances for El Paso Locomotive with 5. Detroit City scored 5 goals in their last 5. Ben Morris created the most big chances with 4, and Victor Becerra. We've seen a little bit of action from him as of late. Has the most shots on target per match. But speaking of Ben Morris, the guy's been on a tear as of late. He did get the only goal in last week's draw, but the guy's been on fire as of late for Detroit City. I did mention on the what do you call it? The on my Twitter feed at Soccer Night or at Motor City Mad Cat on Twitter. I did mention he's been hot as of late. 3 goals out of the last 5 appearances for Ben Morris. He is tied right now with Maxi Rodriguez as far as the top spot in goals for Detroit City SC, where Maxi has slid down just a bit. Ben Morris is rising just a bit. So it's good to see Ben Morris contributing a little bit more to the offense here for Detroit City as of late. So will he be, and we look to him to be a big factor in tonight's match. Now, as far as Maxi goes, like I said, his struggles have been late. I think a lot of it had to do with him going, back more to a central midfielder position instead of an attacking position, in which earlier in the season he was more of an attacker, especially when Elvis Amo left due to injury for a couple months. He was a big part of the attack for Detroit City FC. Now, he also has 7 goals on the year. And, I don't know if you could say that there's a little bit of a drought there with him. So, in hopes that tonight maybe the two of them possibly could work together against, offense or defense that, has, let's just say, we'll look at it at the overview. How they have given up goals this year. Let's see here. I'm looking at their overview here. Okay, let's go to stats. How many goals that they have given up? Well, they have scored 19 goals in open play this year. So not really a big goal-scoring team compared to what Detroit City has this year. In fact, Detroit City last year had 30 goals for the entire season. Going to this year, Detroit City has surpassed that by two goals. 32 goals played in now what is it? Let's see, 26 matches thus far this year. So they've already passed their goal total for 2023. So you're not going to expect a lot of goals coming out of this El Paso side tonight. I'm trying to also find here how many goals that they have given up on the year. They average a 0.8 goals per match. We'll look at the head-to-heads in a little bit here. Let's see, attack here. Defense. Goals conceded per match, they're at a 1.4 right now for the season. So they have also conceded 4 penalties on the year as well. So El Paso, they changed their coach midway through the year as well. So they've been shall we say, a struggling team. So now let's look at the head-to-head as far as the history. Well, we already did the history on that. Detroit is 1 win, 1 draw, and 0 losses in the competition. Of course, the one win came last year, a 3-1 victory for Detroit City. For Detroit City, Maxi Rodriguez scoring in the 78th minute, earning himself man of the match honors. Yazid Matthews also in the game as well. So, or also scored in the game as well. So, tail of the tape right down the middle here. Let's look at this here. I went down with let's see. Well, I already described the goals per match there earlier in when talking about El Paso. 0.76, 1.4 goals conceded. They've had 5 clean sheets this year. Their worst loss came against 5th place Rhode Island, a score of 3-0 over at Bryant University Field. And then their biggest win came against Loudoun United, a 2-0 victory over at Segra Field. So, you're going to see get right game. I've been saying this about, I said that about Miami. That was definitely a get right game. Big victory there down at Pitbull Stadium. But for the most part, can you say really, this one might be another get right game for Detroit City? Detroit City has been good on the road as of late. Won 2 of their last 3 on the road. They have been a road warrior team. You look at the Eastern Conference, and I'll bring this up right now. You look at the Eastern Conference, the top 3 in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, Charleston and Lou City are on the top spot as far as that goes. But you look who's sitting in third as far as away points. Detroit City at 21 points ahead of Birmingham Legion. 6-3-4 on the road this year. Only 4 losses. One of them, obviously, to Lou City. That was a terrible drubbing down there. Pittsburgh, another one. But as I mentioned, they have been winners of 2 of their last 3, including a win at Tampa Bay's Al Lang Stadium. So Detroit City seems to get their kicks on the road. For this year, and that's pretty much what's helped them be in this position in the Eastern Conference, sitting in the 4th spot. So we know the home cooking at Keyworth Stadium hasn't been all that great. It's, I'm not talking the food. I'm talking about the output of play for Detroit City. In fact, it has been a downgrade since the win against Charleston Battery back in June. So, and, winless in 8 straight at Keyworth Stadium. It's not good, especially if you're battling for a top 4 spot and to host a playoff game. Winning these games on the road are good. They're great, actually. That means you can win away from home. However, you got 2 big home games coming up. Top place New Mexico United next Saturday night. The following Sunday, Lou City, top dogs in the East, who just clinched a playoff spot yesterday. They'll be coming to Keyworth Stadium. I don't think these guys are going to be letting off the gas pedal. We know New Mexico United's not going to let off the gas pedal because of the fact that they're in that top spot in the West, and they want to get home field advantage, at least in the Western Conference. And Louisville's going to be Louisville. Everybody knows that. We stole one last year from Louisville, an injured Louisville side at that time. So, they got to get the home cooking done. As I look at the schedule for Detroit City, coming up in the, we got 8 matches left on the year. So we travel to Monterey Bay after that. That's a 10 o'clock match on the 28th of September. Then it's the Patriots' Point to take on the Battery. Possibility of stealing one there? Maybe. Who knows? We shall see. And controlling Nick Marcanic might be a good idea in that one. So, and then following week after that, they host Indy 11 at Keyworth Stadium, 4 o'clock kickoff there, and then they close out the home schedule against Miami SC. Now, looking at the home looking at the home draws there of these final 7 games. So we got 4 home games coming up and 3 road clashes. So after that, the 3 road clashes, Monterey Bay, possibly a beatable game, a winnable game. Charleston, not sure about that as of yet. They're trying to battle to get that Players Shield. So that might be a tough one to have. San Antonio's been struggling this year. That could be a possible 3 points win. So possible 6, maybe 7 points on the road. Get 9, great. And I'm not including tonight's game by all means. If we include tonight's game, we're talking 10 points, possibly. I predict there. But here's the meat and potatoes of this whole deal. The meat and potatoes of this whole deal. You've got New Mexico, then Louisville, then Indy 11. Last time you guys met Indy 11 in the Open Cup, you lost 3-0 down there. And then you finish the season against Miami FC at home. I keep saying this. You got to win those games at home. You have to win those games at home. You got the crowd behind you, 100%. Not only do you have that crowd behind you, you got that other side looking at you as if it's like a cup game. They want to come in and embarrass you. You gotta take it up one level over them. So, especially now that we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the stretch run here, and you play 2 of the top dogs out of your next 4 games. It's very, very pertinent, and of course, and a playoff contender in Indy 11. It's very pertinent. You got to take care of business at home. I mean, I could see at least 9, maybe 10 points out of the 3 games that we got coming up left on the road. But the thing is, if you're going to keep that 4th spot in the Eastern Conference, you got to at least get out of this with at least 6 points, maybe or not 6 points. At least maybe 6 to 8 points out of this deal. You may lose to Indy, or not Indy. You may lose to Louisville. New Mexico, if you get a draw on that one, that's an admirable point. Got to get results, at least results out of 3 of those last 4 home games here. And if that doesn't happen, then I don't know what to tell you. We might not be getting a playoff, or not. We might be on the verge of not getting a playoff spot. Possibility is highly likely we'll be getting a playoff spot. You won't be getting that home playoff spot if you don't take care of business at home. So, the road thing is one thing for Detroit City. The home thing is another animal there. So, let's quickly take a look at the games that are coming up tonight as well. We already reiterated about the 2 games that occurred last night in the USL Championship. There was one other game. Next week's opponent I already mentioned it. One other game. Phoenix Rising 1-0 winners over SC Tulsa in the late matchup last night. So that's the 3 games that took place last night. Now, tonight, there will be 2 games that will be already in progress. I won't have the scores for you until after hours. Hartford Athletic will be taking on Indy 11. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Big one down in at Highmark Stadium. Pittsburgh Riverhounds hosting Rhode Island SC. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Charleston Battery takes on Sacramento Republic in the big cross-conference matchup tonight. That's 7:30 kickoff there. And then Oakland Roots will be traveling down to Cary, North Carolina to take on North Carolina SC. That's a 7:30 kick. Colorado Springs takes on Tampa Bay. That's a 9 o'clock kick, same time as us. And then the 10 o'clock kick will be Monterey Bay taking on San Antonio FC. Playoff implications in that one for those 2 clubs. So a lot of action tonight. Short schedule. 3 games were short schedule for Saturday. 3 games were held last night. As far as tomorrow's games, there are no games. The only games that are going on are USL Super League games. So, but yeah, the bulk of the action in the USL is tonight. Now, Not sure. We'll be on late, so we'll be on late. So after the 12, I'll post the scores and hopefully some highlights from tonight on After Hours. That'll be posted after the last match is done, probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock ish in the morning. As Steve mentioned, you can tune to the game tonight on WKBD Channel 50, CBSDetroit.com on those outside the Channel 50 viewing area, and inside the state of Michigan. And of course, you can catch the game on ESPN Plus with the Duke. Yes, a lot of people like the Duke from El Paso. Good announcer. But if you want to catch Neil and on the mic, he's going to be on Channel 50 beginning at 9 o'clock tonight. So After Hours, like I said, later on tonight. And I'll post the lineups on the Facebook feed, Soccer Night in Detroit, on Twitter as well. And also I'll have them on TikTok once those come out as well. So and of course I'll leave those. I left those socials at the beginning of that, and I'll leave those socials again at the end of this taping here. And until we meet again After Hours, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the galaxy.